Calling all Misfits, I'm Bree.
And I'm Emma.
And this is Buzzkilled YouTube. Welcome back. Sorry for the long delay. I suck at phone camera to computer editing software. So we bought a webcam.
We did. Hello from the webcam.
So this is exciting.
We did. She did. I need to Venmo you for that.
It's fine.
I just realized that.
It's not a big
We're in
deal.
this together.
We're gonna, this is the shirt, guys. Isn't that so cool? Well, I suck. It's...
I know, we're getting
It's unfortunate. It's hooked up to my computer, which is over to here.
It's the direction we're both looking.
And the cam's on Emma's computer, because she's the one doing the case today. But I just want to say thanks, Heidi, for the awesome shirts. Love them. These are them, though. I just wanted to show you guys what they looked like, and
they're so cute.
Yeah, super cute.
Working on a bulk bullshit. I almost said, bulk merchandise.
Bullshit. Yes. So yes, thank you for tuning back in. Gooch on in. Good morning.
Good morning.
Or good evening.
Or whatever. Good afternoon.
Yep. Okay. Any business that we have, we'll do at the end of the episode. Yep. I don't think that there's much today.
Nope.
So, and this is, I don't know.
And this is,
I'm still feeling a little bit sick, so bear with my, that. We also are still recording in Emma's kitchen with our dogs, so there is that.
Also, if you see my eye twitching, no you didn't, because it's been twitching for 2 days and I don't know how to make it stop.
It's stress.
Like what though?
No, I
know.
What
am I stressed out about?
Remember, Mike was doing it for like weeks.
Just like
it was
having
constant.
A little dance party. And I feel like when I talk to people and my eyes twitching, I feel like they notice. They never do notice it, because when your eye was twitching,
I literally look, it's doing it, and you'd be like, what? And then it would stop.
Yep. But I feel like mine, instead of like an actual twitch, like my upper eyelid just kind of drops a little bit for a second. The muscles I'm just falling apart. My eyes. So yeah, maybe it's a lazy eye. Maybe she's born with it. I don't know. Maybe it's Maybelline. All right. Okay, so today we have a little surprise for you, and it's funny because I don't think it's a surprise.
Because we've talked about it in the past few episodes.
Yeah.
But it's still a cool thing.
Yeah, so if you didn't hear, now you hear. The surprise is conspiracy theories. And if you know Bree and I personally, you know that we fucks with a good conspiracy theory.
We love a good conspiracy theory, unfortunately. We go down those rabbit holes. We send them to each other. We freak each other out.
Yep.
It's a good time.
It is a good time. It's always a good time. I was talking to someone yesterday, and they were like, "We're living in a simulation," and I was like, "I cannot handle this right now. Please don't."
Oh my God, literally.
I was like, "I know. We have to drive home,
from work.
From work. I cannot be thinking about, because it's a long drive, and that stuff just sits in your head." Yeah. Anyway, so here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna talk about, and we talked about this, which case to do for a while. So this is what we decided to do, and we'll touch more on this at the end of the episode, but we've decided, since we love all things conspiracy, about the ocean and space, and are we in a simulation, whatever, that is going to be on our Patreon. We're going to keep the podcast strictly to Moida, all things true crime, and then for those mini episodes that Patreon's our promise, those will be, it's not going to be all conspiracy theories, but we're going to mix it in when we feel like it, between, our short mini episodes and stuff like that. So
would this be, are we considering this a buzz thrilled?
Can we, I don't know. I thought about that too. We'll talk about it.
Okay.
I don't care.
I don't care.
I'm cool with it. We do need another buzz thrilled.
I know, but should we have the, we're not going to redo the introduction. So if I publish it as a buzz thrill, ta-da. So sorry.
I was talking to Jack about this the other day, and he said he has I know. Are you serious? Rude. How dare they get the trash? Poppy, I will kill you. If you know me, you know that I'm obsessed with my dog, and you also know that she is an asshole. I mean, we love her, but
we do love her.
She runs this place. And then there's Dobby. He just chills and sleeps. But anyway, just really quick regarding Buzzthrilled, I don't know if I'll mention this at the end, but Jack does have a case picked out.
Sweet.
So we just need to get together and record it.
Yeah. Are you ready?
Yeah. Well, no, but yeah.
Let's do this shit.
Are we ever really ready?
I'm really excited for this, y'all.
Okay.
Like, really excited. I know this is not a fun case. And Emma, I should have just done this case for myself. Because I was like, you know what you should do?
JonBenét.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she was like, I hate that case. And I was like,
hate
cool,
this
have fun
case.
doing it.
I don't know what it is. Like, some cases I
It's
just
sad,
absolutely
or like,
hate.
what about it?
I don't know. Like
the whole thing?
I also
it's
don't
unsolved.
like...
We don't like unsolved.
We don't like unsolved. But that's not the reason I don't like... Well, yeah, that's part of it.
Unsolved child. I feel like you can tell me if I'm wrong or not on this. I feel like the police made some mistakes, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my God,
So
yeah.
that's also frustrating because it's like when you're like, why didn't you just freaking look there or do this?
And yeah, exactly. And we'll talk about that.
So it's like frustrating.
It is frustrating, and it's also gotten, I think, and this is how I feel about cases like, you know how I feel about Ted Bundy and like Charlie Chaplin. Charlie Manson, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Charles Manson?
Charles Manson?
Yeah, I don't know if he was called Charlie, but
That's probably why I wanted to say Charlie Chaplin, because I was like, anyway. But I do not love cases that have already gotten so much attention.
Right, and this is one of them.
Because I feel like I'm giving attention to like a really negative thing. Obviously, I mean, that's why we do the freaking podcast. But also to the killer.
BTK. That's like BTK.
BTK. See, the one thing I do love BTK though, because what?
I know it's a wild case, but the reason why I say that is because it's like he wanted the attention.
Yeah, it's a good point.
So he was like he dubbed himself BTK killer. He literally was like sending in mail, right? Isn't that what happened? He wasn't gonna get caught potentially. And
yeah,
so
he was taunting the police, and then the police made basically almost not a bet, like a deal. They're like, hey, give us and they didn't know it was him at this point. Anyway, the police was mailed a file.
That's what it was, yeah.
And it was made off of the computer at his church when he was logged in. So really stupid stuff.
But it's, so it's like, didn't he also research or he asked the police if they could track the USB.
That's right.
Yeah, or something dumb like that. And it was just like
floppy disk.
A floppy disk. And it's just the save icon if you don't know because you're young, but
the what?
The save icon is a floppy disk. Unlike your...
Oh, yeah. Yes. No, I think the biggest reason is, it just got so much media coverage, and it's really easy for stuff like this to get, really diluted among the madness. Yes. And I have, a fear of the internet, why are we doing podcasts? I don't know, but, people can be so mean, and so I don't want to say something wrong, and then...
And that is, okay, so let's just get real on this. If you're not into conspiracy theories, don't listen to this. Yeah. Because here's the thing, we are going to say, because I totally get it. You probably have your own idea of what happened in this. Yeah. And I also have my own idea on this, but I'm very excited because I'm down to have my opinion swayed, one way or the other.
Oh yeah,
from this case, and that's what, if you're into that, if you're okay with having an open mind about cases, then okay. But if you aren't, then don't listen to this because it's not for you.
Yeah, we'll see you next week.
Yeah,
or never. I don't care. Please tune in.
We do care. We love you all.
I'm I don't even care. Get out of my face. And Bree's no, please come back next Sunday. No, we do.
Also, is this gory?
Not really.
So also, if you're not into gory, Lorianne, for instance, I know is not into gore. So I'm sure she could probably listen to this one.
Yeah. We're not gonna... there's gonna be a little bit, but, what murder case doesn't have, the honest truth of how the person died?
Amount of gore.
Yeah, a little bit. But
sorry.
She was 6 when she died. Sorry, it's not funny. But, the way that just connected in my mind.
Yeah,
no.
Guys.
Okay.
We are ready.
So, okay, so yeah, we're doing this case also as kind of a palate cleanser, comedic relief, whatever you want to call it. We're here for it.
Just comedic relief.
Comedic relief. What's it called?
No, that's right, palate cleanser. But I feel like it's not funny though.
Of course, it's not fucking funny. A child died. Anyway,
we're doing this for comedic relief.
We're not doing this for comedic relief. God damn it, Emma. Okay.
Palate cleanser.
I must have been laughing when I wrote about something else. Okay, I need to stop talking. All right, so I'll talk a little bit really quickly about the case and like the murder and also really quickly, I am baffled by how many people don't know this case.
Oh my gosh, we brought this up at work the other day, yesterday.
Poppy.
And someone was like, the what case? And I was like,
who is that?
I'm sorry, how have you been living under a freaking boulder?
Are
you Patrick Star?
Are you Patrick mother freaking Star? Because A, can I get an autograph? And B, no, yeah, I asked someone yesterday and they were like, oh, is that in France? And I was like, good, okay. I can't wait. She is taking over. Bree's retiring. Hi. So, anyway, JonBenét, if you haven't heard, or didn't hear her, if you didn't hear, she actually died, 4 months before I was born, so... this happened before I was alive, which is wicked to me.
Oh, Christmas time.
Yeah, of 96, and I was born in 97, okay?
No, you are the one that wanted up here.
Why are you crying? You are so cute. Okay, so this case took place, I am Dr. Seuss. This case... In space. Okay, so this case took place not in space, on the Earth, on Christmas Day of 1996.
Okay.
So JonBenét was 6 years old, a child beauty queen who was being raised in Boulder, Colorado. Now, I guess I should have mentioned by now that this episode, unlike 99% of the cases that we do cover, is in the U.S. We're simply covering this for the conspiracy theory.
Yes.
Obviously, we just said that I don't love this case, and not to give respect to the family. Like, that is absolutely not what it is. But some cases, I'm just like, what? Okay, so let's talk about it.
It's out of her comfort zone.
Yes. So JonBenét went missing, and JonBenét. It's interesting because, like I just said, people are like, oh, is she French? No. Her father's name was JonBenét Ramsey.
Which I didn't know until you said that yesterday.
Yeah. Really?
Yeah, and when you said, and I was like, oh, that makes a lot of sense.
Yes, so her name is JonBenét Patricia Ramsey because her mother is Patricia, who goes by Patsy. So we'll call her Patsy, but...
Freaking Patsy.
I know, Patsy. She died.
Oh.
She died at 50. Of cancer, yeah.
Sad.
In 2006. I literally read that this morning just because I was like...
She only died 10 years after her daughter died?
Mm-hmm.
That's sad.
Really sad. And it, consumed their lives, obviously. So if people are still talking about it, because I see stuff like this, on social media all the time. Anyway.
Yeah.
So, JonBenét went missing on Christmas Eve from her family home in Boulder and was found dead in her own basement on Christmas Day. 8 hours after she went missing, she was found...
And her family called and said she was missing?
Yes. So, we'll talk about that. Okay. Her cause of death was asphyxia, which obviously is strangulation, and the case has never been solved. I will mention really quick, and I'll throw this in later, but she also had a skull fracture. Okay. So she was hit over the head. There was no proof of rape, but sexual assault was never ruled out.
Oh, Jesus.
I know.
I don't think I knew that.
Yeah, when I was talking about it yesterday, right, when I was talking about it yesterday, I was like, I remember if she was sexually assaulted. It was not at the forefront of this case because it was never clear enough.
Right.
Yeah, so she could have been unfortunately assaulted, but there wasn't enough evidence to confirm whether or not there was. Right. There was, and there was definitely not evidence.
I really hope there wasn't.
About a rape. I know, 6 years old. So... Okay, and obviously I just said the case hasn't been solved, and it hasn't been solved with regard to the police or the justice system, but a lot of armchair detectives and misfits alike seem to have a good idea of what happened. However, all ideas are kind of different. So, there are two issues though already. Many people have many theories, and nothing has come to fruition about these theories. Nothing has, excuse me, ever been proven.
Sure.
So, like I said, case is unsolved. So, I'm leaving a lot of room for discussion with you.
That's fine.
So, okay, square one, JonBenét goes missing. That's not exactly square one. Square one is there was a ransom note that was found by Patsy, the mother, JonBenét's mother, on the staircase of the family home, and it was like a fatty paper. Like, it was like multiple pages long. For some reason I want to say 8, and I think that's wrong. I think it was like 3 or 4.
Sure. For a ransom note? For
a ransom note. And it was like very detailed. So we'll get into the ransom note in a second, but just for the sequence of events, what?
So stairs down to the basement, or was it like a 2-story house with a basement?
Yeah. Okay. It was like a 2-story house with a basement. Sorry. We're both. So so there was like and they lived in a pretty nice house. John Ramsey, the father, did pretty well as a businessman. Okay, so they discovered that she was missing from her bed. There was this ransom note. Patsy calls 911, and you can listen to the 911 virtually anywhere. You can just look it up on YouTube if you want, and she sounds absolutely terrified. So she went missing. So they discovered she was missing, found the ransom note, and they called 911. Police were there within just a few minutes. In one source it said 3.
Holy shit.
Yeah. So, but I'm not going to be like, that's exactly how long it took them. I don't know. It could have been 7. I don't know. And they scoured the house.
So they looked throughout the entire house?
No.
Okay.
They did most of the house, obviously. If you don't know by now, JonBenét was found in her home.
Right.
But not during the initial search. So they searched in the bedrooms, closets, and in the basement. Now, here's what's kind of weird about how all of this. There was a basement, and then there was like they referred to it, the family referred to it as a wine cellar. It was like a cooling room. Like, there wasn't wine there, but it was just a separate room in the basement, and the door was held with like a wooden peg. It was like one of those things that kind of dropped down. So they didn't even think to look in it because they're like, okay, this looks undisturbed. And they didn't do this right. I'm just trying to justify. I don't know why, but so they didn't go in there the first time. The wooden peg door. Okay.
Was it actually chilled?
It was cold down there. Okay. Yeah. Because it's like, I mean,
it's also Christmas time, so
it's
like
Christmas time, Colorado. Yeah. Colorado gets real freaking cold. And it's like, I mean, my basement is, substantially
What is it if it's supposed to be like a wine cooler room or
Did
cellar?
they leave her down there for preservation?
Yeah.
Right. This one room was not looked into, and the detective was later questioned, or the officer. I don't want to give them the wrong title.
Yeah.
Because I'm sure he was scrutinized enough, but which.
Understandably.
I
mean, especially because she was found in the house.
Right. And they're so you had one job.
You literally were supposed to search the house.
Right.
Yeah.
So he says...
Unless you would just assume that she was taken from the house because that's how the parents were playing it.
Right. And it's like similar to like an attic, you know what I mean? In my opinion.
Oh,
like, it's
that's
like,
a good point.
Like, would anybody look in the attic for the first go around? However, it's a 6-year-old girl. And, okay, so the ransom note really threw them off. So they were like, she's abducted. She's not even in the house. We're going to search. They weren't necessarily searching for her. They were searching for any
evidence.
Clues.
Like anything out of place, anything missing.
Yeah. So the detective or the officer in that, once he was, like, interviewed, like, what the hell? You dropped the ball on this one. He was like, look. The wooden door was pegged from the outside. It would take a lot, like basically the mechanism on how the door worked made him believe that it hadn't been opened in a long time. Like he was like, I wasn't going to go in there. He didn't know that it was a cellar.
Right.
Cellar cooling room. So he just left it. Okay. Frantic, everyone's searching. The next day, police come back and they do another search of the house. Just like another, probably more... Thorough, thank you.
Yeah.
For some reason I wanted to say sculpatory, and I don't even know if that's a word. So a more thorough search, and John actually walks down into the cooling room with another law enforcement official, and that's where he finds JonBenét, deceased.
How did he act?
He screamed.
Oh.
Yeah, so when I was watching a documentary on it the other day, and the detective, now retired, that was with him, said it was like a guttural scream. for anyone who believes that the parents did it, you could definitely say that, people are good actors.
Yeah.
So, who knows? Okay. So, the ransom note, which I said was super, super long, it was really, they had a lot of, animation, for lack of a better term, lots of exclamation points, all that, which they thought was weird, because usually it's like, $5 million, this is the address, or she's dead.
Was it handwritten?
Yes. And we'll talk about that in a second. The
Love
ransom note.
Handwriting analysis.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The ransom note demanded $118,000, which is equivalent to $194,000 today.
Like very specific.
Okay, so
Also, not a lot.
Not a lot. Not a lot. It's like it's like just shy of $200,000. And John had done like a certain number of $1 million in sales in his job, something like that. It was like a big, or like the first $1 billion, I don't know, but it was like a huge amount. So like they obviously had money. The ransom note demanded 118 because, well, the theory behind this part is because John's Christmas bonus the year before was almost that exact same amount. So like who would know that?
Except for the boss.
Except for the boss and the family.
Right.
So unusually, we're going to talk about handwriting experts and things like that because this ransom note did get analyzed. Like, I went through a lot of analysis. So, like I said, it was unusually long, and the FBI was like, I've never seen a...
Yeah, because that means whoever wrote it, like, took the time to, like, write a 3-page ransom note, potentially while trying to kidnap a 6-year-old girl.
Silently.
Right.
Like, while everybody's in bed or at home, like, chilling. And, yeah. So that, like, doesn't... Okay, don't love that.
What time was she reported missing at?
9 p.m.?
So, like, the middle of the day, just all of a sudden she's gone.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's, like, nighttime, but
you know what I mean.
Oh, yeah, right, exactly.
Right, like, potentially a 6-year-old girl could have been up at 9 p.m. Or the parents were probably
definitely. Yeah. So, initially... the police were like, okay, maybe this is an inside job. Not an inside job. The note was written by the parents. Okay, so this is kind of the theory behind the parents doing it. The notepad and the pen were Patsy's.
Okay.
So that means that the abductor, killer, murderer took the notepad and like wrote it out at the house.
Right, like in her office or whatever, wherever it came from.
The only fingerprints on said notepad were Patsy's and law enforcement.
They could have been wearing gloves, I guess.
Right.
But
like what?
Yeah.
So that was like they were like, okay, Patsy had to have done this. Okay, so.
Or smart for an intruder to have done because they knew that it would have been Patsy.
Well, and we've heard this in other cases, like some people, it would be like, put gun to your head, write this down. But she never said that happened. Right. So they were like, she was like, oh my gosh, I found this ransom note. And they're like, kind of female-y handwriting. There's only one set of fingerprints that are not law enforcement, and that's you, Patsy. Right. And the notepad and the pen came from your home.
Right.
They're yours.
Yeah.
So they did.
My mind always goes to the don't be suspicious.
Don't be suspicious.
Which is awful, and I'm sorry, this isn't funny. But it's like, what? Like, you're literally using...
Right.
It's your notepad, your pen, your fingerprints...
If it was her, like, you couldn't just stop at an Office Max.
It was cold out. You could have been wearing gloves when she bought them, and it wouldn't have been suspicious.
Great point. So...
But unless it wasn't planned.
See, I just feel like if you're going to kill your daughter, like, it's got to be planned, you know?
Right,
well,
but
and we'll talk about that, too.
Well, the reason why I was saying, like, maybe this makes it seem like it wasn't planned, so...
Yeah, that's a good point. And we'll talk about, obviously we'll talk about more theories, but we'll get back into that because I just said you have to like plan to kill your child, which you do not. We've seen that time and time again, fits of rage, passion, whatever. But with the ransom note there
was some kind of, if it was the parents, some kind of planning.
Yeah.
Or like cover up.
Right.
Right.
So...
Interesting.
Very interesting. So they did handwriting analysis on Patsy compared to the note. Okay. Again, according to this documentary, it's I rented it. I don't even remember what it's on.
Oh, we'll link it, yeah.
Yeah, we can definitely link it. And it's really interesting, very interesting, because they go into a real big deep dive. And John, actually her father, the parents didn't do a lot of, John and Patsy didn't do a lot of interviews.
Okay.
Like they were away from the media as much as possible. So this was kind of like a huge deal for John to be like, this is what happened to my daughter in 96. Right. So, okay. So they did handwriting analysis between Patsy and compared it to the ransom note.
Okay.
In order to prove that the handwriting is the same from one person to another, you have to have, like, and it's really hard to explain because I'm not an FBI analyst yet. Just kidding. So it's similar to DNA because we all have the same kind of we all have our own handwriting, right? So in DNA, and if you've heard it, like if you've watched like Law and Order or Criminal Minds or something, you'll be like, the fingerprints matched for 7 points, right? There were 7 points of the fingerprint that were exactly the same.
Right.
It's similar in handwriting. You have to dot your I's a certain way. You have to slant your T's a certain way.
Or if you're like left-handed, the way it's written.
Exactly.
Right.
So it's similar for handwriting, and in order for it to be deemed most likely a match, it's got to at least match 5 points.
Okay.
5. Patsy's was 4.5.
Oh, fuck.
So it's like very close, but they were like, we can't.
Right.
You know, without like the, what is it? Doubt in our mind, not with reasonable doubt.
Reasonable doubt, yeah.
Yeah. She was 0.5 short from it being a match. Okay. And she was like, yeah, I'll do it. Like, I did not write this note. Here's my handwriting. And they were like, it's really damn close, but it's not exactly close.
So is it like, for like a fingerprint, for instance, isn't there like 23 points? Like, okay, is 5 points like pretty low? Or is 5 points like, wow, 100%, this is it? Or is 5 points for handwriting analysis like, okay, it's like 60%? You know what I mean?
I wish I knew the answer to that question. Yeah, I know what you're saying. I think it's because 5 points, they could have said, you wrote this. Why the hell did you write this?
Right.
Like, without...
I mean, 5 points specifically?
Yes. So I think it's like the baseline's 5 and like maybe the maximum is like 7 for like a perfect. Right. So I don't know. But it was pretty dang close. Not close enough. Okay.
Got it.
So that's one thing that kind of happened. I wouldn't call that necessarily a theory. I mean, that theory is that Patsy did do it out of a fit of rage because JonBenét was unfortunately a bedwetter. However, upon investigating Patsy's background, she never was like
aggression, just
burst. Yeah, right. She never was like, oh my god, you freaking wet the bed. Right. She was like, okay, you're 6, like we're going through it.
But investigators definitely have to like look for a motive. So if they were like, well, maybe she got tired of the bedwetting, or maybe this, because I feel like
she lashed out.
Yes.
And then made it look like an abduction, and then that's why they tested all of the handwriting and all that shit. Okay. So let's talk about the crime scene and how very poorly it was preserved.
Okay.
So police are there. They don't find the body the first time. They don't find JonBenét the first time. And they just, like, let the family stay there, which I think is
Christmas,
weird.
Yeah.
It is Christmas, but, like...
And also, mind you, they're not there's, like, another kid.
Oh my gosh, yeah, thank you. Burke, her older brother was 9 at the time.
Yeah.
So
they were like, you have another child, it's Christmas Eve, you're missing your daughter, try and enjoy the rest of your Christmas, you know what I mean? Maybe?
Yeah, so in my opinion, what they should have done, and I'm not a detective, I'm not a cop, I can't say this, but, like, I'm gonna, they should have said, you know, you can only use certain parts of the house, we're gonna have police all over, like, we'll be around, you know, like
don't go to her room.
In case she comes back, like, maybe, you know, they had no idea, because they did not know that she was dead.
Right.
So they were like, okay, she's abducted, if the ransom note tries to call, or the writer tries to call the home, you have to be there. Anyway, so it was a little bit interesting. Okay, the way that they
because I don't know how a normal police investigation for a missing person goes, because this is like very unique because the body was found in the house later, which for all the missing cases that we've done, that doesn't happen.
No.
So it's like, you know, normally they're like, okay, this person went missing, was abducted from your home. A lot of the times that's not the case either. Normally it's outside of the home, I guess.
Yeah.
So it's like, how would they preserve, what would they preserve? Because that would be really hard if I was a parent.
That would be really hard. I would almost want to, like, have... Yeah, I mean...
I'd be like, I'd want to, like, go sleep in their room. Like,
I'd want to be there, but, like, at the same time, like, it would be really hard to be there. You know?
Absolutely.
And not have her there.
Yeah.
So
especially if you think if she was snatched from her like window or something.
Right. So
what did they do? Did they do that? Sorry, did they investigate like the house like doors locked?
Yes. So we'll talk about that.
Okay.
So
sorry.
No, that's okay. What was I gonna say? So
they didn't handle it properly.
Thank you. Cleaning the case. I was like totally thinking of something I'm going to say later. Okay, that happened. Then when they found JonBenét,
the next day,
John, her father, went down there and picked her up.
Oh shit! He touched her. They let him do that.
Well, he just went down there. He's like, my baby's dead. Like, what would you do as a parent? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
that police, whoever was with him should have held him back.
Right. Okay. So
but
the body really quick. Obviously, there was a head wound. Like I said, she was asphyxiated. There was a nylon cord wrapped around her neck.
Oh, Jesus.
There was duct tape over her mouth. And there was a white blanket placed over her, like, middle section, like her torso.
Okay, wait. So there was a white blanket across her torso?
Yeah.
Meaning that she was unclothed?
No. There was just, like, over her middle section, there was a white blanket. Like, I don't know why that's significant, but, like, that's
just interesting.
Yeah.
Like, an interesting thing to have left.
So John.
Oh my God! I'm so sorry, but I'm gonna say this. The theory of an intruder now, I feel like, would have to go out the window.
Why?
Because they're saying, okay, so your daughter was kidnapped from her room or something, or like was taken from her room or wherever in the house, then killed potentially that same day and left down there, but how somehow the parents missed all of that. Didn't hear anything, no struggle.
Well, she was in her bed and the duct tape right over her
mouth, killed, and then but somehow was able to be brought downstairs with no one seeing them in the middle of the night, placed there, and then escaped.
All before they realized she was missing.
Right. All before at 9 p.m. on Christmas Eve.
Or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. Or she was taken, killed, and then brought back.
Which doesn't make sense either.
Because why would that? Go ahead.
No.
So interesting.
I know. So.
Well, because I've like thought about the case obviously a lot, but it's like the more you think about it, the more you're like,
Wait, what? Yeah. So again, going back to the crime scene. So once they found her body, okay, so Dad takes the duct tape off. Basically screwing up the DNA. Yeah, I mean, I get it, but like, what? And then takes the cord from around her neck.
Yep. Sorry, I'm gonna fill up the water bowl.
Oh, okay. And removes the blanket, heads upstairs with his dead daughter in his arms.
In his arms.
And the detective is like,
this is fine.
Wait. Yeah, like he's like at the top of the stairs, like gathering his ass, which is probably on the floor. That didn't make any sense. Anyway, but yeah, okay. So picks up his daughter, JonBenét, who's now deceased and like ice cold because she was kept in the cool room, brought upstairs, and laid down in the living room. Okay, so all of that DNA evidence gone.
Any fingerprints?
Nothing. So after they had discovered that she was deceased, they had kind of like an early memorial, which sounds weird. They had a bunch of family and friends over.
That day?
Yes.
And the police were like, yeah.
They were like, yeah, no, do your thing. 18 people in the house. Family, friends, they're like, oh my gosh, so sorry, like we need to figure this out. And the police were just like, I mean, yeah, like. So again, DNA evidence gone.
Okay,
gone.
So back to the parents' theory. If the dad knew, right? Mm-hmm. Smartest thing he could do.
100%.
To fuck up the case.
100%.
Go in there immediately, be the only one down there with the one investigator, take off all the shit, pick her up, bring her upstairs, like immediately, because you're ruining all evidence, which it's really hard, like sad to think.
Yeah.
You know, that he did that on purpose. John did that on purpose because he knew that it would disturb the scene.
There are a lot of people that believe, after watching the documentary that I've talked about a couple times now, that after watching the documentary, they have decided that John is innocent.
Oh, good.
So go watch it. Okay. But there are still a lot of people that are like, no, they killed their child.
Yeah. But also, how would you react if you found your child? You know what I mean? Like, go ahead.
No, you're freaking in shock. You're in, like, you're traumatized. You need to, I mean, you're not thinking about first of all, not everybody's like us, and I forget that.
Right.
So instead of being like, preserve the crime scene, they're like, oh my God, I need my family.
Also, we don't have
baby's
children.
Dead. Right.
So it would be way different if it was our child.
Like, I feel like no matter what, my mom or your mom or whatever would be like, oh my God, my kid.
Absolutely.
Like, and go to them and touch them. Not thinking.
Oh yeah, that would be so hard not to.
Yeah. However, it was the police's fault for not finding her before.
Yeah. Oh, and from him holding them back. Like,
yes.
Because a lot of the times, like when we've talked about this or listened to cases, when like a mom or a kid were killed in the house and the parent is away, the police literally have to hold them back from stepping foot inside because it's now a crime scene.
Yep. So what happened here?
Right.
So, okay.
Or the police officer was just so shocked, probably, like, oh shit, I was not anticipating to see a
girl's body.
Yeah.
So, sad. Okay. So, like I said before, she was not raped, but they could not rule out that she was not sexually assaulted, which is sad. That's unfortunately how it goes in a lot of cases, and it's so sad. But there were 2 singular marks on her back. I know that sounds strange. They were like little, like teeny tiny little burn marks on her back that led investigators to believe that a stun gun or a taser was used.
Okay.
However, the dots on her body didn't match the size of like a stun gun or a taser.
Weird.
Like they were
too far apart or something.
They were too wide, and they're like, there's no way that this was, they'd be X amount of inches wider. So they're really not sure where those 2 little tiny burn marks came from, but they were like spaced out perfectly, teeny tiny. It looked like something was, I don't want to say like she was like electrocuted, but like
something like weird.
Burned her, hurt her, maybe to subdue her. I don't know. They never figured out what that was.
Interesting.
Yeah, very strange. Okay, her brother Burke. This is another theory that I hate. It makes me really sad for him. I don't know if he did. It doesn't make me sad for him. But Burke, her older brother, who was 9 at the time. Remember, she was a child beauty star. She was in pageants. Her mother was in pageants growing up. So it was like JonBenét. The idea is that JonBenét was kind of at the forefront of everyone's lives, and so Burke was kind of jealous and took it out on her. And then and this is silly. I read this in one source, but I'm going to say it because I think it's really interesting. The idea is that Burke hit his sister, JonBenét, over the head with a flashlight after she took a piece of pineapple out of his bowl. Okay. And he was like, he just got annoyed. A fit of rage. And didn't mean to kill her, but was like, hey, off. That's mine. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, well,
then where's the asphyxiation come in?
Exactly. Was that a cover-up? Did they not think that? I mean, her skull was the boom. I mean, there was something there. It's not like you could go. It's not like they figured it out. But she wouldn't have
died from that?
The cause of death that they learned.
Was asphyxiation.
Mm-hmm. So then it's like, okay, and this has happened a lot, where, especially with siblings or like lovers or whatever, they will hurt the person and realize that they did a lot of freaking damage, and not know what to do, and then they're like, fuck, I gotta do that. I gotta finish it. I can't tell my mom I'm gonna get in trouble, so I'm just gonna kill her. And I know that doesn't make sense to maybe you or I sitting where we are in the minds, in the headspace that we are, but
especially from a little boy's standpoint,
who doesn't know.
Well, it's weird to me. Okay, here's the thing with that, I guess. The way, unfortunately, if she's crying because she got hit and he's bigger than her, he could have done this, covered her mouth or her nose, and then that's how she could have died. However, since there was a nylon,
there was a nylon cord wrapped around her neck, yeah,
and I'm assuming the marks from it,
right.
So it's if that, and I guess I didn't,
and it's really hard to cover someone's breathing holes and kill them that way,
right? Absolutely, but I'm saying if she was crying and he could have been holding her from the back, trying to muffle her because he was stop crying, I didn't mean to hurt you, and then accidentally kill her that would be a little bit different. But considering there was literally, she was strangled, that makes that a little bit difficult, especially because he's only 9. I don't,
it's
also,
hard.
where were they where were the parents in that situation,
right? And
but also if that did happen, couldn't you have called and said it was an accidental? He's 9. He's not 18, 16.
Yeah, he's the chances of him being going through the court system as an adult would have been extremely small,
Yeah.
especially if it was an accident.
Especially at 9 years old.
Yeah.
So he could have, like, there probably would have been a lot of, like, psychological tests or, like, you know, things ran.
Right.
Because I've also heard this theory.
Burke?
That it was Burke.
Oh my gosh, a lot of people believe that it was the brother.
And then that's why the parents didn't call until 9 p.m. or, like, that's why they wrote the Ramsey note, was to cover for Burke.
So, going along with the Burke theory, because I just thought of this, he hits her over the head with a flashlight and goes, "Oh shit.
I'm hurting.
I hurt her." The parents think, he goes, "Mom, Dad, I don't know what happened. I, got really upset. She tried to take a piece of pineapple." Why a pineapple?
Yeah.
On Christmas Eve? Like, where did you get that? And I hit her, and now she's knocked out, and maybe her breathing was super slowed, and they didn't think she was alive. So the parents said, "Fuck, we need to fix this for you. Let's make it look like it was someone else." And that's when the nylon cord came around, which eventually killed her, because maybe she woke up from being unconscious because she was knocked out in a cold room with the nylon cord around her neck, and that's how she died. I have no idea.
Right.
But, because then she would obviously be like, "What the hell?" and like hopefully get up, or maybe scream and be like, "I'm still alive, bitches, like I'm here." But my thing is, like, maybe the parents were like, "Oh my god, our oldest child just killed our younger child, and we need to help him."
I guess, and also the theories that I have heard about Burke, I didn't realize that he was only 9. Mm-hmm. Because that's, for me, like, going to, like, my 9-year-old state, I couldn't imagine...
I think of my brother at 9.
Right. I couldn't imagine, like, him or myself or anyone that I know that's 9 grabbing the nylon cord. That's where her dying from asphyxiation, like, confuses me.
Confuses me too.
Because if she had just had the fracture and that's how she, like, bled out or something else, that would have made more sense to me.
Yeah.
Like a fit of anger from... Because I understand that. Like, I would get angry at my brother, but you know what I mean? I just couldn't imagine.
I held a knife up to my brother one time because he wouldn't do the dishes. I never thought about stabbing... Well, he thought I was thinking about stabbing him, but I was not... I mean... anyway, don't call... We're both adults
fine.
Now. He's alive.
But it's... but you know what I mean? Like, the strangulation with the cord specifically is what...
Well, and that's why I'm thinking, like, I wonder if he told his parents and they were trying to cover it up for him.
And so they were like, okay, just strangle her?
But how would that... Yeah, I don't know.
Like, why wouldn't your... If that were the case, "Hey, Mom, I hit her," take her to the hospital and been like, they got into a fight. Like, I don't know. You know what I mean?
Yeah, unless they think she's already... I don't know.
Unless they thought she was already dead, right. And maybe they did the... Okay, here's another theory. Ow. What if he did strangle her, like, barehandedly, and they did the
Nylon.
cord as...
That
as
cover
a
up?
cover.
But why would he hit her and then strangle
Also
her?
strangle her. Yeah. That's what I was saying. If
You'd
she's
have
crying,
to be so angry.
Or that's why I was saying if she was crying from being hit, and then he was trying to get her to stop crying because he knew he was going to get in trouble.
Yeah.
And so he was like, "No, stop crying," and like held her down.
Right.
Which is also terrible. But I can't imagine. Go ahead.
No, I can't imagine either. Okay. Like I mentioned earlier, there's another theory that Patsy, her mother, killed her in a fit of rage over a wet bed.
Which is awful.
Which is awful. But again, the thing that is, like, really confusing to me is why are there 2 very separate injuries, both of which could have killed her? You know?
Right.
The back of the head and the nylon cord. That's why I'm thinking, like, was it really the family?
Right.
But who else could it have been?
Yeah. No, it's very odd. Unless the head wound... Unless someone wasn't planning on actually killing her. No, but then why would you strangle her?
And, like, I want to know, like, how hard her head was hit. Because
Right.
her
Was it
skull
like
was
she
fractured.
fell? Like she fell? Or was it like it looked like someone had hit her with something?
Yeah. Right. Was there a big freaking piece of her... But there was... I mean, when she was picked up, there was, like, blood around her. But, like, was it a significant amount of blood? Could she have bled out had she not been...
Was there defensive wounds?
Not anything to speak of. Not anything that I read. That she, like, put up her... But, like, defensive wounds in what way? Like, skin under the nails, maybe?
Right. I wonder if she was hit over the head and that didn't kill her, so they strangled her.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like from behind.
And, like, what if, honestly, like, what if, because we were, none of us were in that room or in that house. None of us know. Like, maybe her parents were like, we're getting sick of your shit.
Yeah.
And literally, and then, you know, knocked her head into a wall or pushed her down. And then,
6.
and then just freaking went after it. Yeah. Fuck. I don't know. Because, but also to, like, negate that, again, her parents were super involved in her life.
Right.
They did all of this stuff for her to be a beauty pageant.
Right.
Little miss, whatever. Not whatever. But, like, for her to participate in this stuff, they took her to, you know, voice lessons, acting lessons, all of the stuff. Why at 6 years... Yeah.
Why all of a sudden would you be this angry?
I wasn't doing cool shit like that at 6. I'll tell you that much.
And also, like, I have a hard time believing that Patsy would kill her over wetting the bed, considering she already... It's not like it's her firstborn. Like, I'm sure Burke probably did stuff when he was young, too. Like, I'm not saying, you know, it's comparable, but it's like children do shit that you don't want them to do.
Oh, my God.
And you already had one, so you know that it's going to happen
right.
again. So it's like, come on, it's not like...
Yep. Yeah,
you know?
none of that part makes sense to me. None of this makes sense to me. Okay, here's another idea.
Okay.
There are 3 neighbors, one of which played Santa Claus in the movie. I'll find his name really quick. Bill McReynolds, who played Santa Claus, former family housekeeper, and then a man named Michael Helgoth. Okay, so they were, 2 of them were neighbors. One of them was a former housekeeper for the family. Shortly after JonBenét was killed, the 3 of them committed suicide.
Like in a pact?
I don't think so.
Weird.
It was like 3 separate instances of suicide, and they were suspected of being involved because of this. You know, the neighbor, the housekeeper, and the other neighbor. So what if she was like, and I'm not saying this in any way that is negative because I have no place to say, but like, what if they all thought she was just a turd, you know, and was like, we've had enough of your shit. I can't say she was 6. It's not her fault if she was a turd.
Yeah, if they did had anything to do with it, that doesn't give them the right to have taken away her life.
Right.
Or once again,
where was the DNA?
Well, and then but that what if it was an accident?
Yeah.
You know, like they like hit her over the head. They realized she was dying, so they strangled her to help her to. Maybe they thought she was gonna die, like suffer, and so they strangled her so she would die.
Right.
That way.
I don't.
And then they killed themselves because it was too much for them to think about or to deal with.
She was 6. Oh my God, 6-year-olds can't do anything wrong. So that is like there's not much to that. And they would like, how would they get her body back inside?
And how would all 3 of them be involved?
Right. So okay, and then and we all know this theory because they had money, like I mentioned earlier, that there was basically like a hit out for the child beauty star, you know, because John Ramsey's daughter was, you know, so then there was like, an abduction into, they were going to abduct her for sex trafficking, and it went bad. Again, the evidence just goes nowhere. Okay. So, going back to the intruder theory.
Yeah.
With the whole DNA and stuff like that. The only thing that was left that did not match anything from the people that lived there, any of the Ramseys, was one singular boot mark.
Okay.
One, I don't know what kind of boot, I don't know what size, it was men's, but there was one shoe print of a boot.
And there was no...
That was it.
But there was no boots in the house that matched that?
Correct.
Well, that's kind of interesting.
Exactly. So that kind of goes to say, okay, well then how could the family have been involved? A lot of people have an idea that the parents were involved, but they weren't the ones who actually committed the crime.
It was like a hit.
Right. But the parents knew.
Right.
My problem with that is, where's the motive? Like, why did they want her dead?
Yeah, there is no motive to that. Like, no one has given a clear enough motive for that to be the case.
Right. So, on the same note of the intruder theory, and I know I keep going back and forth, but it all ties in. I mean, none of it does. There's no ending to this. But, so then they looked around to see, you know, windows, doors, anything was broken. Okay, so there were 2 windows in the family home that were, like, cracked.
Open?
Yeah, not like, yeah.
Or like...
No, sorry.
Yeah.
Not cracked. They were, like, open a little bit. They were like, okay, well, whatever. There was there was a broken window in the basement, and there was an unlocked door.
So lots of ways for an intruder to get in, unfortunately.
However, the broken window and the tracks among the windows that were open both had undisturbed cobwebs that would have been disturbed had there been any movement.
Had to have, because it's not like you could fit through.
Right.
Or someone
even a broken window, there were like cobwebs like there, like over the hole.
So it would have had to come from the door. From the unlocked door.
Yeah. But also, like the unlocked door, like let's just say it was like a side door, like I have at my house. Anybody would hear that. You know what I mean? So unless it's like a trap door from the outside. So that theory kind of goes out the window, that it was an intruder, but like where's the boot mark from? And they're like, okay, well he got in from the broken basement window, but there's cobwebs that would have absolutely had to have been disturbed. Thank you. Okay, so going back to DNA, bouncing back and forth again, they obviously did DNA tests on all of the clothes that she was wearing. When they DNA tested her underwear, they were like, wow, there's a lot of foreign DNA that doesn't match any of the family members in her underwear.
That's awful.
No, it wasn't like semen.
Okay.
It was like skin cells and like maybe saliva or something that had dried on which does not make this any better. But they could not link the DNA to absolutely anybody, and multiple samples of this DNA were like mixed together, which sounds weird, but it was like, it was very diluted. It was, for lack of a better term, they were like, okay, this isn't like even a full sample, like we can't do anything with this. The idea there, and again, this kind of relates back into the documentary, which this is going to sound very strange. The idea is that the DNA came from the packaging plant. Packaging plant where the underwear were made.
Got it. So if the underwear was newer.
So the underwear was new.
So it's like they didn't wash them before she put them on.
Right. Which kind of grosses me out if you think about it, because it totally makes sense.
Yeah.
There are people like packaging your underwear. Right. You know, so and of course they're probably talking to one another, whatever.
Yeah. I wouldn't have ever thought of it.
I wouldn't have thought about it either. And when investigators kind of came up with this idea, a lot of people were like, where the hell did that come from? Right. But
unless the parents were like, she's literally never worn this underwear. This is the first time she's ever worn it.
Yeah. And that's what they think. And there wasn't enough evidence to conclude whether or not she was sexually assaulted. So why would these random DNA sources get into her underwear?
Only on her underwear.
Yeah, and it wasn't like they were like in the crotch of her underwear either. Right. Like there was probably something on the waistband, on the seam, like it could be anything. Right. So, interesting. Very interesting. So in 2006, elementary school teacher John Mark Carr actually confessed.
What?
Yeah, weird. He was living in Thailand at the time, and he was like, I did it. He claimed that he drugged and sexually assaulted JonBenét and then accidentally killed her.
But there was no
There was literally no proof. No evidence, nothing to support that idea. Because they're like, how did you... Why? Like, what's your connection? You know?
Right.
She was in kindergarten.
Well, unfortunately, I mean, I guess, even though it was a false confession, something I guess could have happened like that. Someone could have snuck in the side door, went into her bedroom, potentially, wanted to sexually abuse her and then didn't, and then hit her and then realized and then killed her and then, I don't know.
My question is, how do they get in and out quickly enough, quietly enough that nobody knew that she was still in the freaking house?
Right, and that's what's weird to me is what time the missing persons call was made at. Because if it had been made at like Christmas morning at like 7 a.m.
Then Then
it was like, what happened the night before? But considering it was 9 p.m.
or something around there.
Right, or in the evening.
Yeah.
The day before, it was like, okay, well, obviously she had been with you that day.
Right. So
Or if she hadn't been with you all Christmas Eve, why didn't you call Christmas Eve morning?
Right. So they were like, dude, come on, John, get it together, man. And he, went off the radar after that, probably off the deep end too, but...
Not the dad, the teacher.
Yeah, the teacher. Yeah, I'm sorry, yes. Yeah. And he was like in Bangkok, and he was like...
I did it.
And they're like, what? Like, when? How?
Yeah.
And he was like, this is it. So it was probably, unfortunately, because people are gross like this, it was probably a fantasy, and he wanted to insert himself in the investigation because he wishes that he could do that. And that's awful. The last theory that we're going to talk about is that JonBenét is actually Katy Perry.
Which is interesting. I've never heard that theory.
I hadn't either until the other day. I was like researching it, and it was like, hey, she's Katy Perry, and it's like, but what? So, and this is there's like absolutely nothing to support this besides the fact that they look alike. Because they do. Like, it's weird. I will post a side by side. A lot of their facial features and the structure of their face is like very similar. Mm-hmm. But there was a body.
Right. It's not like she went missing and then it was never found again.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
And then they're saying, well, maybe it was a big cover up because JonBenét didn't want to do it anymore. Maybe she was getting into going back to the idea of sex trafficking to keep her safe. They quote unquote killed her.
And that's why the investigation was botched, because the police were in on it?
Maybe either that, or at least the parents knew and did absolutely everything in their power to make it look like a murder. Intruder murder. Yeah. And unfortunately, the timeline kind of fits too, like age-wise.
Okay, but let's go back to the ransom note. Why would the parents write a ransom note?
I'm glad you brought that up too. Totally sorry to cut you off. This will help what you were going to say. The terms that were being used in the note were like, nobody could imagine a mother writing that about her own daughter. Like, drop this, don't call the police or she will be beheaded.
Shit.
I will rape her and cut off her fingers and mail them to you one by one. Like, shit like that. And investigators were like, why would Patsy
have written that,
write a letter like that knowing she had just killed her daughter,
right, or
was about to kill her daughter?
Well, the other thing, what I was going to say was, why would someone write a ransom note though and then kill her, getting nothing in return, and bring her back to the house?
Mm-hmm. Right. They never got the money.
They never got any money.
The little girl's dead. That's all. So,
or why wouldn't you? They found the ransom note on Christmas Eve.
Yeah, they found that before they realized that she was missing. They found it on the stairs.
Yeah, that's weird.
So,
because it's not like they got the ransom note and then got one phone call, and they were like, "We refuse to pay you," and then she was found dead.
Yep, no,
nothing. It was just a random ransom note, and then
they waited for the phone call. They waited. I mean, a call. Nothing happened, which led a lot of people to believe that John and Patsy were doing this.
Right. That is unfortunate.
So,
I can see why this is not a fun case to...
It's really not. It's actually really not. But it's still open. Someone knows something.
Right.
Someone knows something. And the family...
Hopefully a deathbed confession comes.
I hope so too. From some
or
weirdo.
Like some... Or like some random person, as awful as that would be as well, some random person finally confesses to it. Like,
I was hired. I was hired, and it was a botched abduction, and so
Yeah. Or maybe they were. Okay, here's another wild theory. What if someone else was sent to do something else to the family, but then
JonBenét just got in the way. Yeah, it's fair.
And so that person freaked out, hit her, and then was like, "Oh my god, I don't know what to do." Killed her, left her there
because she'd talk otherwise.
And then right. Or, like, maybe they, like, did actually write the ransom note because they really were going to do that. I don't know. You know, there's, like...
I don't know. I mean, I can't imagine finding my 6-year-old... I don't know why my brain just went here, but dead on the basement floor and doing it. You know?
Well, unless... Like, I guess the other part of it is, like... unfortunately, I was just listening to... Betsy Page.
Mm-hmm.
And
Betty,
sorry.
Mm.
Betty Page, and it sounded like she would go into these, like, fits of, like, aggression, and, like, it was like she would, like, when she was coming back to, it was like she didn't realize what she had just been doing.
Like, blacked out?
Like, blacking out, and so that's also a theory, right? That could be a theory, like, the mom literally blacked out, did this, and then was like, oh my god, didn't know how to cover her tracks, hid it from her entire family, right? Mm-hmm. Put her body down there, wrote the ransom note, and then, you know,
yeah,
or something like that. Ugh.
It's a lot.
It's a lot.
It's very messy, and like I said, 400 times, make it 401, it's still unsolved.
Yeah.
Nobody will, in my opinion, nobody will ever know. I mean, the truth always comes out, sure, but like, I don't know that we'll find answers for a very long time. So, anyway, thanks for that, Emma.
Yeah, gosh. I don't know if there's any, did we have any other business? I guess just check out our Patreon, check out our YouTube.
Buzz Thrilled. Sorry.
Yeah, we'll make this a Buzz Thrilled. That's okay. We'll post it on YouTube as Buzz, like, you know, as the normal Buzzkilled.
But yes, and sorry, I just yelled that.
Okay.
Also, what I was going to say was there is some more paranormal Buzz Thrilled stuff in the works, like I mentioned at the beginning of this episode.
Also, sorry about the delay on the last episode. Thanks for bearing with us on that.
Some stuff happened.
I'm just a mess sometimes, guys, but everyone is.
We all are. Oh my
Everyone
God.
goes through
Look
shit.
at me. I had like 5 minutes of sleep last night. So,
But we appreciate you all. We love you all.
Love
Thank
you
you for
all.
your support. Go ahead and email us any theories that you have on this case.
Yeah, I'd love to talk about it more. I mean,
Yeah.
I know I said I don't love the case, but I'd love to hear the theories about it.
Yeah.
So you can send us an email.
Yeah, buzzkilledpodcast@gmail.com.
Or you can send us a message on Instagram if you're not already following us.
Buzzkilled Podcast.
You can find us on Facebook.
Buzzkilled Podcast.
And you can check out our website at
buzzkilledpodcast.com and our YouTube.
Buzzkill Podcast. If you didn't
Weird.
get that,
Buzzkilled
Killed
Podcast. 3 words.
3 words, past tense, buzz killed. Some
Ta-da.
people don't get that.
Thanks so much for this case. I'm glad that, I'm sorry that you don't like the case, but I'm glad you did it. 'Cause there's
too.
so many weird theories about it, and it's nice. I'm curious what our next case will be. I guess that will be my conspiracy theory.
Dun dun
And
dun!
we'll see how that goes. My stomach is rumbling. We also need to go to work. We're literally
We're gonna
going to
be so
late.
late. Okay, have a great week. Thanks, Misfits.
We love you all.
Love
Bye.
you, bye.